What? No, what do I say?
Well, don't call it an emergency broadcast. It's a special
Bulletin.
recording.
It's
a bulletin. That's what it is.
Special news bulletin.
Special bulletin.
Extra, extra. Read all about it. 7 Oregon militia members acquitted in court a couple days ago. This is an emergency broadcast. Wait a second. of the Overdose Talk Show. We're very happy tonight to hear the news of these guys who we found a lot of reasons to support while the whole standoff was going on, and we found it to be a really interesting story, to say the least. Comically flawed, though they were, and might I say hapless. They might have been a little bit hapless. Don't you think?
I'd go with hapless, yeah.
But look, here's the thing. These guys were there for a reason. I've noticed most people don't even really understand what it was. We'll get into that. But they were charged with a conspiracy charge. Do you know the exact name of the charge? I keep forgetting it. I read it like 5 times. But it had
don't have it written down.
It had to do with conspiring to prevent federal employees from doing their jobs, basically.
Right.
So we're assuming that everybody that's checking this video out is familiar with the whole story. We don't really need to recount the whole thing, right? The 24 people were charged after the standoff up there in Harney County, Oregon. Of course, Lavoy Finicum was killed. The Hammonds are still in jail. We'll go into all of this stuff. But they ended up charging 24 people with this conspiracy charge. 11 of them pleaded guilty. How would you like to be them? Now that you find out.
Yeah, no shit.
Because then seven of them so far went to trial. The rest of them are going to go to trial in February. But so 11 pleaded guilty. 7 that went to trial were acquitted. Just day before yesterday, I guess. And
yeah.
And it looks like if I was one of those 11 guys, I'd feel pretty stupid right now. Like, man, I should have got a better fucking lawyer. Their lawyer, you know.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I hate myself.
Well,
forever. Because they're in prison. There's no way. You know.
You know what was happening too is you know what? Real quick, while we're doing this, you should look up what they were sentenced to, if you can.
Yeah.
So what I'm picturing though is you got a lawyer, you know, and the lawyers are split into 2 camps. Okay, and everybody's got different lawyers depending on what they can afford and how they're going to get them, and maybe they've got people helping them out and whatever. So everybody's got a lawyer, and some of them are going, look, we got to plea to this. There's no chance. Even the guys that defended Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, and 5 other guys, including I forget his first name, but his name was Fry, Stephen Fry, maybe. Is that right? The last guy that was there, you remember, who said he was confused and wanted a pizza. That's how the whole fucking standoff ended. Was, I'm confused, I want a pizza. All right, fine. Will you come out after that?
USA.
He's like, yeah, I guess I will. He was acquitted. So the lawyers that were defending the guys that were acquitted seemed genuinely surprised that they got this acquittal. They were like, this is phenomenal. You know, they were like me after my DUI. Just like, well, the system fucking works. Wow, this is great. After I got acquitted from my DUI where I was clearly drunk, I was ecstatic about the old court system that day. But so they the lawyers really seemed surprised. The one lawyer, okay, so let's do this. Ammon Bundy's lawyer, Marcus Mumford, was informed, I guess, you know, at the culmination of this whole thing, that, yeah, they're not guilty. They are, however, not free to go. They're going to have to go to Nevada to face some charges related to the standoff at the Bundy Ranch back in 2014. And I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We're joking around, but we really do support these guys, and we do totally understand, you know, the reasons that they were there, and we do totally understand that they didn't have what most people would consider to be a peaceful, legal path of recourse that they could have chosen for their grievances. You know what I mean? They had tried everything. They had been bullied by the Bureau of Land Management for years. The Hammonds, who this whole thing surrounds, got thrown in jail for lighting basically fucking brush fires, controlled fires, to keep forest fires off their land, right? And one of them got a little bit out of control, and I forget, it burned a pretty insignificant amount of land, you know, for something like that area. What was it?
Oh God, a drop in the bucket. It was almost nothing compared to the space they were in.
Not to mention when they did. When that did happen, it was determined in court that actually increased the value of the land. It actually helped for whatever reasons. You know, they had environmental experts and everything testify to the fact that, look, this actually was beneficial. Okay. So meanwhile, the Bureau of Land Management has done their controlled burns that have gotten way out of control, burned down fucking houses, killed livestock, all this shit. They're not accountable. They don't go to jail for fucking terrorism like they charge these two, you know, the father and son, the Hammonds, with, which is what sparked off this whole fucking controversy. You know, so they obviously, if you've looked into the story, you know, if you haven't, you might want to, before commenting, you know, that these guys were charged with terrorism. Okay. They were charged under some 1996 terrorism act that I forget what it was. Okay, so they're charged with this. It carries a minimum of 5 years. They went to jail for originally about a year each or something like that because the judge decided the 5 years was cruel and unusual given the circumstances. Then they were called back to court after they were let out of prison and told, on second thought, we're going to have to run out the rest of your mandatory minimum sentences. Fucked up thing all around. Meanwhile, they've been at the center of a controversial trend in their valley, which the BLM has, you know, been has taken part in basically bullying people off their land, securing it for the federal government. In most people's views, to you know, because the land is uranium rich, rich in silver and gold in some areas, blah de blah. They need it to leverage debts to China, just to fucking gloss over the entire thing here. This is what's going on. The corrupt federal government is stealing land from people. It's been going on for decades. The Hammonds were the last holdouts. They throw them in jail for this bullshit terrorism charge, and up to Oregon, our comedically flawed militia members go, who apparently couldn't grasp the concept of you know, not going on the fucking on YouTube with boxes of dildos. You know, they said when, remember that when they sent them the dildos and the guy's all pissed off, you sent us these goddamn dildos. This isn't a, just like, dude, you don't know how the internet works at all. Like people are going to see it. People are going to see that and go like, oh shit, you know what? He's really upset. We should stop this. Like, we shouldn't send him any more.
We should definitely not send any more dildos.
Yeah. Just leave him alone, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's leave him alone. We've clearly gotten to him. Like, yeah, that's how the internet works, you fucking moron. You don't go on fucking on YouTube and TV with your dildos and complain about it. You're gonna get more dildos.
That's when the ante gets up and people start sending you real dicks.
they start grabbing people by the dick and cutting their whole body off.
They paint it like the American flag, slap it in a show box.
Yeah, send them off to the militia guys. Okay, so I think that pretty much covered the basis of what's kind of going on here for anybody who didn't know. Okay. Sorry, Andrew. What were you saying? Because I don't want to get too like rambly all over the place here. But
yeah, let's go back to say that.
Let's go back to the Marcus Mumford thing as soon as you're done. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, this is, I guess, a segue. The people who accepted plea deals or pled guilty are all facing anywhere from 2.5 to 6 years in prison.
Oh, okay. So slick.
Yeah. So no wonder Marcus Mumford was so worked up when he found out that no one was going to jail.
Oh boy,
Prison.
Oh boy. Well, what does that mean? What do you mean? No wonder he was worked up that no one was going to prison.
He was probably really excited and had a lot of energy, and then tried to ride that wave a little too far because he once the Ammon and Ryan were
it's
excused.
Ammon, no D.
I'm sorry.
I know
Ammon.
you want to put the D on there because Ammon is obviously a common name that we all know.
Yeah.
But it is in fact Ammon.
Ammon, I know. I'm looking at it right now. I don't even know why I said the D.
Yeah, so they say, look, we're taking Ammon and we're taking Ryan and we're going to take them back to Nevada to answer to some charges in relation to the standoff in 2014 at the Bundy Ranch. And he says, you got to give me, and according to all the eyewitness accounts that I've seen, and according to what he says, because he got released later that day, you know, and everybody's saying the same thing, that he was basically requesting that they show some sort of warrant or documentation or something to prove they have the authority to extract him from Oregon and take him to Nevada as, you know, to face federal charges. You know what I mean? He's asking for some kind of proof, which is not unreasonable considering how the fucking federal government has treated these people. You know what I mean? It really isn't unreasonable. And apparently got a little excitable, and the cops decided we got to tase this guy. They tase him, tackle him. You know what the cops do. You know, that's
immediately started shouting, "Stop resisting!
Stop resisting!" Immediately. They really are just like those fucking rednecks on South Park. Just, he's coming right at us. That's that's what the cops have become. They do that fucking corny routine of stop resisting every time. It makes your fucking blood boil when you see that. Like the guy, you're twisting his fucking his arms and throwing him around and blah blah blah. I'm sorry, I'm saying fuck too much. I'm just excited. But I feel like an idiot. I feel like there's people that are gonna listen to this and say you shouldn't say fuck all the time when you're talking about a serious thing. Anyways, when they're twisting a guy's arms and he's you know, reacting to it, stop resisting, and hitting him and stuff, like, holy shit. Anyways.
Well, here's what's really weird to me. Okay, so his, Marcus Mumford's whole idea was that earlier in the trial, this judge had said that she can't, she had no authority over detention orders made by the court in Nevada. So based on that, which she had said earlier in the trial, was saying she had no right to order them held under those detention orders from Nevada, since she already said she had no authority over them. So
but to me, when I read that, I thought maybe she was just telling him, you know, I don't have the authority to override that. And see, the laws are strange, and oftentimes judges and law enforcement officials aren't really clear on exactly what the law is and what they're supposed to be doing. They just do it, and everyone goes along with it, you know. And if you don't, you get beat the fuck out of you and tased, you know. So
well, and here's the other weird thing.
He's really doing the best he could to protect his client and saying, you know, because I would think in his mind, he goes, okay, look, I'm gonna at least to save face here, I'm gonna at least make them show me some document of some kind, and then I'll say, okay, fine, take him. You know what I mean? But it's like he was ultimately, I think, more doing that as a posturing move of, you can't, you know, he's protecting his client. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that.
All in a day's work.
I think maybe his adrenaline took over a little.
Yeah, no, he was probably excited. They all were. I mean, everybody out there seemed very surprised outside the courtroom and stuff, you know.
But he started raising his voice to the judge, and the judge was like, the lawyer, Marcus Mumford, when he started raising his voice to the judge was like, don't raise your voice to me. And he was like, I'm just asking for proof. And when that happened, all these U.S. Marshals, there was like 6 or 7 of them, according to eyewitnesses in the courtroom, they stood up and started to like kind of move in on where he was. And the judge told them to back off and to leave him alone. And they didn't. And they went, and he like put his hand in the air like a what the hell kind of thing. And once he put his hand in the air, like in a waving motion, they tackled him and tased him and arrested him for failure to comply with federal lawful order and disturbance.
Sure. Yeah, that whole lawful order thing is that's a very big gray area with law enforcement. You know, a lawful order is technically supposed to be something like put down that knife. You know what I mean? Don't stab that hostage. You know, it's things like that. You know, that's a lawful order when you're putting someone in direct harm. drop the gun, blah 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 blah. That's lawful order stuff. Then it really gets, I guess, over the years through the court system, depending on each judge's interpretation, it has morphed. So
yeah,
the law. Oh man, it
comply.
Is yeah,
it just
basically
boils down to comply.
Yeah, it's basically become that.
Yeah.
So anyways, he got let out. He seemed like he had a pretty good sense of humor and stuff. I saw him interviewed. And Marcus Mumford seemed to be all right with everything. He even said something like, "Look, I grew up on a dairy farm. I'm used to a little bit of getting roughed around and shit. It's no big deal. I love these people, man. They are
I'm
really
just dealing with pigs.
All these guys up there. They're like cartoons. They're of like Americana, salt of the earth, kind of just like tough people. Like remember Lavoie? You can do what you got to do, son. You shoot me right in the head. Put a bullet right there. And he was calling his head the head. Put it right through the head. Fucking badass.
Remember when he was just like in the background of a shot with a bag on his head and a gun in his lap?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Lavoie. God, how did you not love Lavoie? Man.
I know. What a guy.
We really did, like a lot of people did. As soon as you saw him speak, he really was an intelligent, thoughtful guy. And he was the one that really articulated very well the idea that, we don't have very many options here because, we're dealing with bureaucratic wings of the government or whatever they are, bureaucratic organizations and bureaus and blah 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 that don't contain any elected officials, and they don't anywhere up the chain that we go. We don't have a representative to talk to here. They're just it's bureaucrats every step of the way, and we have no legal recourse that we could possibly pursue. There's no, we can't do anything other than this. And if you read the whole story, the Bureau of Land Management acts like a fucking mafia. It's insane. Mm-hmm. We really can't recap the whole thing because everybody's done it, and it's in our old shows and our old videos and whatever. But they really didn't have much of a choice. It was either give up or do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it. And now, okay, look. So they brought them all to trial. They did this whole thing. But what? 11 of them are in prison now for 2.5 to 6 years. 7 of them have been acquitted. Whatever, that matters to the individuals. But in terms of the cause in general, they ended the occupation of the thing. They successfully kind of turned it into a joke. Lavoie's dead. The Hammonds are still in prison. The Hammonds aren't getting out of prison anytime soon. So what did this really all? What is the end result? You know what I mean? Even if these guys are acquitted, does it really matter to the overall cause? Is this going to make people braver to do stuff like this? Because you had to be willing to die in the first place to go up there. So
yeah. According to a lot of mainstream media outlets, it seems like, yes, this is exactly what's necessary to empower more horrible domestic terrorists.
Dude, the left's reaction to this is fucking hilarious.
Wait, so they're mad that these people got acquitted of these terrorist charges, and so they're responding by continuing to refer to them as terrorists.
Yeah, dude. Where did they become terrorists? I mean, a terrorist has to commit some violent acts, don't they? Isn't that what makes a terrorist a terrorist? They kill a bunch of people and say, we'll do it again unless you fucking give us this. I've never heard of terrorists that just kind of like give news interviews and peacefully talk about their families and their church and
hang out in a nature preserve
and don't really threaten anyone other than say, look, if you come at us, we'll defend ourselves. That doesn't seem like a terrorist to me. And I don't get what this idea of that they're, and one common thread is I've just noticed everyone who opposes these guys has no clue about what they're protesting. No clue. The media has done such a good job of keeping that completely, covered up and just under these layers of bullshit, because I don't hear any major media outlet saying like they're protesting the treatment of the Hammonds and outlining the story for what it really is. You might hear a brief mention of it, but they're not gonna they'll say something like the Hammonds, who were convicted of terrorist for some arson that they committed, or terrorism for some arson, blah blah blah. They never actually tell the story. So most people that are against these guys, they just don't know. They really don't. I mean, they just see people that they're afraid of. They see the crackers in the hills that they think that they should oppose. That they think might represent that people think represents a time in America that they don't prefer would be
they're savages.
Rehashed. They're basically what I'm saying is they're a bunch of entitled minorities. No, no, you know what I mean? Like these kind of people, I think to a lot of people who are left leaning, they see these guys like this, and this really isn't. This is a scary archetype for them. You know what I mean? Where they go, man, this just represents everything I hate about America. So they just immediately want to demonize these guys. When really, you know what I mean? They're different. They're out there in their big ass land. They come from their grandfather helped kill all the wolves. That's why we don't have any wolves anymore. You know what I mean? They've just been out there doing this shit, and they're different kind of people. And and they're food providers. They're pretty noble in a lot of ways. It's not like they're, flying private jets around like some of the politicians that are talking shit about these guys and calling them opportunistic welfare farmers and blah, blah, blah. Everybody thinks who opposes them, they just didn't want to pay their grazing fees. And so they took some shit over.
That's all it is.
Like, here's what you got to learn in life. And I learned this over and over and over, and it never sticks. So I don't really hate anyone for not understanding this story. But what you got to realize in life is when you think someone, or especially a group, is doing something because they're just plain insane, chances are you're missing a part of it. Chances are that, like, there's not as many people as you think out there that are just completely wacky and doing things with no purpose. You know what I mean? You always have to remind yourself of that. Of like, when someone looks completely insane to you, it's probably because you don't understand part of what's going on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I would urge my leftist friends, of which I have many, to please just stop being fucking morons about this. Is that a diplomatic way of saying it? Look into it, man. It really is a crazy story that I just don't see what other choice they had. And now the whole thing of could try for some reason comparing it to the Dakota pipeline. Okay.
Which is super weird, right?
Yeah, and it's a bunch of, again, it's the keyboard warrior type of like, oh, you don't support the Dakota pipeline. Well, what do? Share memes? You fucking loser.
Yeah.
Shut up. Like, you don't support the Dakota pipeline, but you support these guys. You're a racist. Like, you know what? First of all, people like us, we support the fucking Native Americans on almost everything. We have a little fun with them. We make fun of them sometimes and whatever.
A little fun.
Yeah, but I mean, we really do. We are very vocal about the fact that they've been genocided. And they still are to this day. You can't deny it as a rational person. You really can't. I mean, so we're on their side with most stuff. And I say, if they have a treaty, if they want something, let them have it. What are you doing? Have we not done enough to them? You know what I mean?
Dude, seriously.
So fine, I'm there. But you got to realize, stop playing this game of division. Oh, if you're like this, you must be like that. No, a lot more of us probably would stand with you fucking people if you weren't so standoffish and sanctimonious about everything. And I was hearing today that militias have offered to go up there and help them out, and they say they don't want armed white men with guns up there. Well, fuck you then.
Do they have Native Americans with guns up there?
I think there were a few.
I think there were a lot, actually. Yeah. But they did get attacked earlier today by a white guy with a gun. So
yeah, I saw that, the red bandana guy.
But it turns out that he was directly linked to the company that's trying to build the pipeline. So the car he was driving was owned by the company.
Yeah, it just had their logo on the side. jumps in like, just a regular protester. I gotta get out of here.
Do it.
Yeah.
No, it was on the insurance information.
I bought this so I could blend in. See you later.
But no, I agree with you. It's like they want to be self-righteous and say no one's supporting us, and then they deny support.
When it's really the other way around, is like a lot of people who are kind of knee-jerk leftists, it seems to me, just want to hate these guys because they're gun owners and they're militia type of people, and they're farmers. They're very white. They're as white as it gets. You know what I mean? And so they don't find that to be, appealing for various reasons and whatever.
It's not as noble.
Yeah, and it just is. It's just like I said. It's just the archetypical thing they don't like. You know what I mean? So fine.
Well, I've seen a lot of.
Oh, they're religious. They're very religious too.
Yeah.
Which we don't.
A lot of people saying,
we don't like either. We don't really dig that. But whatever. They're not annoying and shoving it at everybody. That's just what they do.
So. Oh, and they're using it for something that we agree with too, which is usually different. Yeah. But I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, if these domestic terrorists were black, they would have even gotten a trial, much less get acquitted."
I did a short video about that a while ago because people were saying that a long time ago, that they would never have survived if they were black. And I would say this to you, if you think that way, I'll just say the whole thing like I said it before. If the Oregon militia members were all black, would you then support them if nothing else was changed but the fact that they were now black? You know what I'm saying? Ooh. So if that's how you think, then you're the fucking racist one, you fucking stupid ass.
You fucking stupid racist.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just such a childish way of arguing a thing like this. And it's such an easy way to avoid the actual facts. It's just to fucking cop out to some emotional, little fucking white knight argument.
Yeah. The other main thing that I've been hearing is that the prosecution should have just gone for a conviction on possessing guns on federal land instead of the terrorist charge, because it would have been better to get them convicted for something arbitrary rather than accept the fact that they really didn't do anything that bad.
Right, the old Michael Jackson quandary. We should have charged him with child endangerment instead of the molestation. We knew that wouldn't stick. Remember that?
Yep, sure do. It's perfect.
That's what they call it in law school now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it that at my law school.
Really something.
Where I give my lectures on the back porch to a bunch of bugs while I'm on acid. Yeah. Teach them the law. All right, anyways.
But that, to me, I think that was even more annoying than the race baiting if they were black argument, was at least you could have pegged them for having guns and not even using them because it's better than nothing, which I don't think is accurate at all, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean...
You see what I find so annoying about that, though?
Kind of. I had a hard time following what you said, actually, to tell you the truth.
People are saying it would have been better to have convicted them just for possessing guns on federal land.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Instead of trying to convict them for the whole thing.
Right.
Because getting them for something arbitrary, like just having guns and not using them, would have been better than just accepting the fact that they're not guilty.
Oh, okay. So that's... Sorry, so that's like a weird fetishization of the law of going like, we want them to be guilty of something, and they're just kind of demonizing them even if they're admitting like they weren't guilty of the thing that they are supposedly so outraged over.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that is absurd. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. Sorry, David Box, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I was just saying, why wouldn't they just charge them with both?
The possession of firearms was looped in with the terrorism charge.
Yeah, they do stuff so weird.
It's like they couldn't. It was like it was one combined charge instead of two separate charges. I guess because they thought it would be easier to get them on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe because it would be easier to acquit. I don't know.
Well, plus they know they're drawing a jury. By the way, by all accounts, this jury supposedly, I don't know what this means, was remarkably attentive. I kept hearing that, and that they were like very, very diligent, and supposedly Ammon, I guess, testified for almost 10 hours or something, and was supposedly what really swayed them. But he kind of, I think, was probably the one who just went back to the beginning and was like, look, this is the entire story. This is why we're here. And they were eventually swayed. It was like a To Kill a Mockingbird kind of trial. It seemed like there were people passing out, fanning themselves.
Marissa Tomei was there. Oh, no, wait.
Bunch of guys whispering the N-word in the back row.
They'll make a movie out of this. I wonder how all those guys will be depicted.
Yeah, well, but you know what? They won't make that movie for like 50 years. And it'll depend which way the country goes. If we go into like some kind of like socialist nightmare, 1984 shit, even more than we are, then it'll be like a look at the folly of these people thinking they could, take us down. But if we keep a free society, they could be portrayed as heroes one day, maybe, possibly. But here's what confuses me about a lot of these guys. Okay. Most of them, these militia guys that were involved in this, will refer to themselves as patriots, constitutionalists, so on and so forth. It took me a lot less than what has been done to them for me to go, this country is kind of a piece of shit, and I'm kind of sick of playing this patriot game, because I really used to be. I'm so proud, and our forefathers and the men who sacrificed their lives for the freedom to fucking blah, blah, until I realized what an overall scam the entire thing was, and how little freedom you really do have, and I mean, am I supposed to be so fucking thankful that I'm allowed to criticize someone or something without being dragged out of my house at night and beaten in a van? You know what I mean? Like, am I supposed to be so impressed by that? So no.
Yeah, because that happens everywhere except America.
Right. And what is with the patriot thing still, of like, why are you so loyal to this country still? Why? I mean, what is this country if it's people and places that are great, but what makes it the United States with borders and this and that is this federal government that does nothing but shit on you. What is the thought process here that makes you still be a patriot after all of this? You know what I mean?
I think people kind of cling to the Constitution because at this point, if you try to apply the core ideals of like what was meant by freedom and the right to bear arms and this and that, without saying, hey, this is in the Constitution, you sound really fucking crazy. And I think that that's their way of like legitimizing themselves to the lay person.
No, I have definitely felt this way. But then I felt like my perspective just deepened at some point where I thought, you know what, this Constitution is another thing that's just pretty fucking just made up. Obviously, it really doesn't matter in terms of morality. Do I need to sit here and memorize things and go, well, the Constitution says, and the Constitution... I sound like a moron. I sound like somebody quoting the Bible all the time. And it just... when I started to realize I didn't really give a shit about the Constitution is when I really felt free, finally, Yeah,
and that's... I mean, obviously that makes sense, but if you are, like, trying to make legal manipulations instead of operating outside of the law, trying to find ways to operate inside of the law.
I get it.
I think that that's another thing that they kind of lean on to.
I get it.
And I'll bet a lot of these people...
I'll use the Constitution. I used the Constitution earlier this year when I was acquitted for my, in my trial. I'll use it.
Yeah.
I understand how it works. I get it. But would I ever walk out of court and call myself a patriot and a constitutionalist? No. Fuck no.
No, but what I'm saying is it's not your primary goal to operate within the law to achieve what you want to achieve. And for some people who identify that way, it is their primary goal. You are fine operating outside of the law. Some people don't view that as an option. So I feel like maybe they have to identify that way because of that.
Yeah, and I'm not even criticizing them for it. I just don't get it. I just don't,
Yeah.
I'm like, what, what is it that you're so proud of this place for? I mean, I get it. I get that at one time we really had some incredible things going on here, and at one time this was a pretty fucking free place. Well, for some of us. But
there have been degrees of freedom.
There have been, but see, that's the thing. It's a joke, right? I mean, there's been atrocities at every level for every period of of our entire history in this country. It just gets to be a thing of like, what am I supposed to be so goddamn proud of? Really? Am I supposed to be so fucking proud, like I said before, that you're not becoming horrifying dictators? Ooh, wow. Thank you so much, America, for not dragging me and my family away for dissenting and torturing us all to death. Man, am I proud of that. Like, you know what I mean? How low of a fucking standard do we have as a species that this is the greatest shit around?
You know what else? And this is pretty obvious, but I feel like it doesn't get said often enough. The founders of this country would be considered terrorists by our current definitions, and they would have been demolished immediately.
Definitely, 100%.
If it was them versus America, no matter when,
well,
we would have found a way.
I suppose they had the advantage of being able to organize while the other army took a boat ride for 4.5 months.
Yeah,
things have changed a little bit, It's not. I mean, we're gonna get to the point pretty soon. Me and the Earthling, the old co-host, used to talk about this all the time. Because I'm sure they're engaged in it to some level. Of course they are. But to what level do you think it goes that they're maybe identifying people who have anti-establishment sentiment and rhetoric and this and that, and going, how can we fuck them up in subtle ways? And can we run can we design an algorithm? Can we do something to identify this and just have every aspect of life that we control fuck up for them if they meet these certain requirements? You know what I mean? Because Trix was talking about, man, every time, he couldn't keep a car going. He had the worst fucking luck with cars. He's like, and then weird shit would happen. He'd lose all his money and stuff. And it would be like, do you think that maybe, just maybe, there's somebody just, like, all right, well, he's up to $1,000. We got to knock him back down because this guy's really anti-government. Like, to what, I know that sounds paranoid, and it probably is, but to what degree do you think that stuff might actually be going on?
All right, not to say that there's no chance that what you said is true, but I don't think that the Earthling is the best example of, like, someone who's got his shit together and wasn't going to lose his money anyway.
I know. You're right. You're right. I just sound like a kid. Like, my friend, his cars kept breaking, and he just, like, yeah. I don't know, he just, like, all his money would be gone. Like,
I lent him my lucky shirt, and he got a new car.
Hmm?
Okay.
Oh, well, again, about the constitutionalist thing, though. You'd think guys like this would be hip to the whole Act of 1871. You remember this thing that we've talked about when we were discussing, the nature of laws and the Admiralty Maritime shit that, that shipping and commerce laws and everything that kind of dictates. Mm-hmm. So the Act of 1871, that was what, it made Washington, D.C., the capital and all this stuff. And it basically changed the Constitution from the Constitution for the United States to the Constitution of the United States, and redefined a bunch of things, including the fact that we're basically goods that are being shipped and that we're responsible for our person as a commodity that is owned by the United States corporation. You know what I mean? So what a lot of people say this Act of 1871 basically negated the original Constitution anyways. And
Constitution too.
That might be why it seems like for your whole life you've never had the fucking protections that they say you have, especially in the Bill of Rights. Your first few experiences with police as a teenager will show you that shit doesn't mean anything. They violate everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The your person thing is the biggest thing for me. The whole
you carried cannabis on your person. What's my person, sir? Oh, that's your social security number. That's your VIN number. That's your barcode. That's what designates you as a documented piece of fucking, you're a widget. You know what I mean?
Manifested physically as a flesh-covered skeleton.
To be leveraged as collateral, for foreign debts.
To China.
Yeah. Okay, so we got this. So why don't they? Why don't they know this stuff? You know what I mean? Why are you still a constitutionalist? You know what I'm saying? There's just so many ways that this all becomes a joke. And that's what I wonder about these guys. And a lot of people say they are actors. This is all a show. This is just controlled opposition shit. And that's one of the things that makes me wonder. Why aren't they going deeper? Why are they classic patriots? Are they trying? Yeah. Is this part of the narrative that eventually draws the planned, draws together the planned civil war in this country? And is all this stuff being fomented to lead towards some kind of weird race war or some shit? You know what I mean? And all this kind of fucking division that's being driven off of these events and everything.
This was kind of lackluster, if that's what you think it was going for. I feel like they could have gone much bigger with it.
No, it could be just the first couple steps.
Could be. I guess we'll just have to see.
People were saying
how else are we gonna do?
People have been saying the Bundys are actors for 2 years. A lot of people on YouTube. And,
is that what you think?
I don't know what I think, to tell you the truth, because I could see it. I really could. But Lavoie seemed like a real guy. Like, and some of the shit that was going on, while they occupied.
That's why he's.
What? Sorry.
Maybe that's why he's the only one who got killed.
Oh, good point.
Because he was real and he was charismatic and he was thoughtful.
Very fucking smart and articulate, really, about he crystallized the whole point of the thing so clearly,
So, of course, he's the one who got killed.
Yeah. Okay. That does make sense. Anyways, I think I got my point across, right? I stand with these guys totally, but why are you still fetishizing this fucking flag and this fucking country? Seriously.
Yeah, get over it.
Yeah, we really don't have a whole shitload to be proud of anymore. You know what I mean? It just is sickening.
Yeah.
We're bombing 7 countries. You saw that video?
Oh, God.
We're bombing 7 countries. We've killed over 1 million people in the past 10 years. You know what I mean? China owns...
Weddings. You know how often we bomb weddings?
China owns the internet. Bruce Jenner turned into a woman. Cats and dogs sleeping together. Living together, whatever it is. Man, this whole place is out of control.
Yeah. Well...
Somebody's got to clean up these streets, Andrea.
Who's gonna do it?
Well, I'll be damned if it's not me.
What is this voice?
That's my slogan. That was a movie I was in. The movie was called Hey, 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 Everybody, Let's Clean Up the Streets. Now, come on now. That was the name of the movie.
That's catchy, eh?
Yeah, no.
That must have been early 80s.
People would say it like that in rhythm, yeah. And then there would be these big dance scenes like West Side Story kind of shit, And I'd be
everyone wore white sneakers probably, right?
Yeah, jean jackets, You had the Corey Feldman hair going on,
Oh, yeah.
And we'd be doing these dance knife fights and
those are scary.
And the bad guys would be like, "What are you here to clean up the?" Oh wait, no. Somebody would have to say, "Who's gonna clean up these streets?" And I'd always go, "I'll be damned if it ain't gonna be me. That's for certain."
So what? You would just go neighborhood to neighborhood cleaning up the streets?
Yeah, but don't you
saying those lines over and over again?
That's your catchphrase,
yeah. I'll be damned if it ain't gonna be me. That's for certain. They had that on T-shirts.
That's catchy, yeah.
Try
Never get that out of my head.
All right, whatever. Listen, you don't think that's a good catchphrase?
No, it's great. I'm being totally serious. That's for certain.
Me too.
Well, I think we kind of covered everything. We're going to do another show tomorrow. We just wanted to do this emergency bulletin broadcast for tonight. Oh wait, I think we can go out to that. Let me see what I got.
All
here.
right.
Anything else that you guys wanted to hit before we left? David Box, what do you think of all this? You didn't talk very much.
I'm sleepy.
Jesus Christ. We're gonna have
I gotta be honest. When I heard about this, I was like, "Oh yeah, these guys." Like,
you
didn't
just
even
forgot about it for a while.
Remember that was a thing? Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't stick with it that well, to be honest.
And I was like, "Good for them."
Yeah, I was happy. I'm very happy. I really am. Hey, if you like the show, subscribe. Go to overdosetalkshow.com to download episodes. Throw them on your phone. Take them with you. You know what you do with that stuff. What else?
You know.
We'll have another show out tomorrow. We're going to start doing 2 a week again.
Yeah.
And taking us out, let's see, what is this? Emergency alert system. Invasion of the United States. My goodness. This better not be some shitty song.
I'm so scared.
Let's see. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right.
All right. Well,
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
good night.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Aviation Administration. An unidentified aircraft has been located near the state of Florida. The aircraft is presumed to be foreign and may pose a threat to those in the area. Florida residents are advised to immediately tune to local media outlets for further developments, as is it not known if this aircraft is a hostile enemy. More updates will follow as information becomes available.